Today on Beyond the Image, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Councilman Knudsen from Ward 1 to talk about the Las Vegas Medical District and what it means to the Las Vegas community. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start by giving our viewers a little bit of your background and what your early life and career journey have been.
I would be happy to, but first, can I describe Ward 1?
Yes,
so
please
Ward
do.
1, for anybody who may not be aware of the City of Las Vegas politics, it's a geographical designation. It goes from the 15 in Las Vegas up to Durango, and then Sahara over to Cheyenne. So in the area that I represent, I have the Las Vegas Medical District and the Northwest Medical District where we are now.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit about what I represent. I came to Las Vegas 19 years ago. I came here from Salt Lake City, Utah. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, went to school in California for a year, and then I wanted to come here and party it up. I didn't know what to do with my life, and so I came here. I sold gym memberships for a little bit of time,
Nice.
and then I ran an after-school tutoring company, and then I started working at the City of Las Vegas. So that's kind of how I learned about the political systems here, the structures here that support people. And I worked at the city for 9 years, and that was an amazing experience. And then fast forward 5 or 6 years later, I ran for office and became an elected official for the City of Las Vegas.
So what makes you're working at the city, what makes you wake up one day and say, you know what would be cool, I want to be a councilman?
I'll be completely honest with you. In between of working with the city and running for office, I adopted my son, Andrew, and I wanted to have a pace of life that would allow me to raise my kid. I now have 2 children. So there's Andrew and Kate, 8 and 6 now. And being in office allows me to manage my own schedule, be my own boss, and raise the kids the way I want to raise them. And I get to bring them to all the fun events. Like I have them on TV every now and then with me, and I have them cutting ribbons with me. And so the job allowed me to do that. I also am very, very passionate about the City of Las Vegas, and I deeply care about the Las Vegas Medical District. My son, who's 8 now, was severely sick when he was a little over 2, and we spent about a month in the UMC PICU. And so I got to know the medical district from the UMC perspective, inside and out, and really wanted to make an impact on creating a better healthcare environment for myself and for everybody else.
For those that don't know, tell us, what is a day in the life of a councilman?
Well, this is a strange day. No, this is actually quite usual. I filmed a TV show yesterday. I have a team of 3 people, and so I have someone who helps me to schedule things. I have someone who does my social media, because I'm terrible at social media, and I have somebody that helps me with neighborhood concerns. And so on a typical day, I'm going to drop off my kids at school or at summer camp. I'm going to go into the office. I probably have briefings with the city team to figure out what's going on and what's coming up. I'll probably have 5 or 6 different meetings. They're usually with lobbyists, with developers, and then in between there I have constituents that are texting or emailing me or calling me and generally complaining about something. So they want something cleaned up, they want traffic lights changed, they're upset with their power bill or the utility bill. And so I do my best to work with the city team and utilities and all the groups that I represent to bring about a higher quality of life for people.
That's amazing. Let's talk about the Las Vegas Medical District. How did that come to be? What was that formation like?
Oh, back in the olden days, as my kids would say, UMC was the one hospital that provided services for people working at the dams back in the really olden days. And UMC expanded and grew. It's the hospital that most people recognize as part of the medical district. Valley Hospital is also just down the street from UMC. When I came into office a little over 5 years ago, the city initiated a project to revitalize it. It really is part of the oldest part of Las Vegas. It's anybody who grew up here was probably born at UMC Hospital or Valley Hospital. And it's the oldest infrastructure, the sewer system, the cables, the light poles, the sidewalks, everything is old and antiquated and kind of fallen apart. And so when I came into office, we initiated a massive investment, a $75 million investment into revitalizing Shadow Lane first. Pinto Lane is currently under construction, and anybody who's driven by there, Charleston, is currently under construction. It's quite painful. But it'll be opening up in November, so that'll be exciting. And then we'll start on construction on Rancho. And those are really the cross streets within the medical district. I rezoned the entire area so that we could bring about a better live, work, play environment for people who work in the medical district. And that infrastructure that the city built is really helping to inspire apartment complexes and restaurants and bars and things like that that'll make it better for people who work there or are visiting there for whatever reason they're visiting there. So the medical district itself is UMC, Valley Hospital. The shining light right now is the reinvestment of money into the UMC, the University Medical Center Hospital. And then the medical school, the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine at UNLV is right there on Shadow and Wellness. And that just opened its doors in 2.5 years ago. And that is a catalyst for the rest of private development in that area. And Southern Nevada having its first medical school at UNLV, they have a brand new shiny building to teach how to practice medicine in.
How many medical professionals are within the medical district?
It depends on how you define medical professionals. I would count everybody who's working within UMC or Valley Hospital or the UNLV Dental School, which is also there. Mm-hmm. There's the nursing school, which is also there. There's going to be thousands of people that are providing medical services for people. And it's a concentration of medical offices, of hospitals, of teaching facilities. All those folks really within that area are involved in providing medical care.
And why is having a designated medical district important to the community?
It's important to know where to go. It's important for doctors to have a concentrated place to integrate services. And I can tell you in Nevada, we haven't done the best job. You can see that in our rankings. If you get admitted to UMC, they're going to make a referral and they're going to send you out somewhere else. And so we're doing our very best to concentrate as many of the medical resources in one area so that if you get discharged from UMC or if you need to see a physician and they make a referral, you're going to the same place and doctors are talking to each other, their systems are connected, and you're getting a more integrated healthcare experience. Are
you seeing that a lot of the patients that are going to these practices in the medical district are living in that same general area, or are people kind of coming from all over the city to come into the medical district?
It's all over the city. For anybody who grew up here, they're going to know that's the place where they're going to go for medical care. And even though the practice of medicine is expanding dramatically because our population is growing, the majority of healthcare is going to happen right there in the Las Vegas Medical District.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that Las Vegas faces from a healthcare perspective?
Recruitment of doctors. It's a really big challenge. I'm sure Steinberg struggles with that as well. We don't have the best reputation nationally for being able to recruit and retain physicians and the folks who support them. And so that is starting to change based on that medical school. That really is that catalyst for change. And then myself and representatives of the medical district work very closely with the state legislature. I think in this next upcoming legislative session, we're going to see changes in licensing. That's a big barrier for doctors coming in, so it takes them a long time to get licensed. And for residencies, it's called graduate medical education. So for doctors who get trained here in that medical school, they graduate to a residency or a fellowship, and we don't have enough of those for folks coming out of medical school. Those things will change based on the size of our population. We're still kind of a newer, younger city, a little over 120 years, and the more we grow up, the more the field of medicine is going to grow up with us.
What advice do you have for patients that are trying to navigate the healthcare system?
Oh, I wish I could tell you. There's no good answer. I struggled with my son. I struggled with my daughter who is premature. She was born in a different hospital system here in Southern Nevada, and it was really difficult once we got discharged. We had to really navigate it ourselves. We had to get a better understanding of insurance. And so what I would say is when you're in the hospital, when you're working with physician, make friends with staff and ask a lot of questions. Don't take no for an answer. Don't rely on your own knowledge base. Reach out and find as many friends and family members to help you navigate the medical system. Amazing physicians. We have amazing nurses. We have nurse practitioners, physician assistants, healthcare workers that are great.
What kind of advice could you give to somebody who wants to get into either working for the city or maybe thinks, hey, maybe being a councilman is for me too? What advice do you have for people that are young and kind of coming up and making some career decisions?
call me. Like I love talking to people because I absolutely adore the city. The city team it's been an honor to work for the city. Once as a city employee, now as an elected official, I work with everything from the fire department and the police department. We take wastewater and sewer water. We have public works. We have parks and recreation. We have cultural affairs. So in any given day, I'm dedicating about $1 million worth of public art into the medical district. If you want to get involved in art, that's part of the city. I'm building a skate park in the center of town. If you're a skater and want to get more involved in designing parks, that's part of the city. I regularly do ride-alongs with police and fire because I think it makes me look cool. And I like to drive around in a fire truck or a police car. So if those things interest you, that's what's amazing about the city of Las Vegas or any government entity. It's for everybody. It's everything and anything in between. On the other side, politics is not for everyone. I don't know if I'd recommend for anybody to become an elected official. But if you want to know more about it, I'm happy to share my contact information. You can give me a call. And I have about 10 people a year reach out and say they're going to run for office, and I tell them exactly what it's like. It's a job interview that lasts for a couple of years. You have to knock on doors, you have to shake hands, you have to get to know people, and most importantly, you have to listen. They're not so interested in my agenda for fixing healthcare. They are interested in their agenda, and so I have to balance out what I think is right for the city versus what the constituents think is right. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's a tiny bit different.
Yeah. What is the importance of all of these medical practices coming together? How does that collaboration between them and the city help really solidify the medical district?
Well, it's needed and necessary. The city acts as somewhat of an independent arbitrator. And so we bring the representatives of the medical district in to talk about those public investments. What's the best way to invest tax dollars? We also talk to them about working better together. Sometimes in the medical profession, they establish fiefdoms or they're territorial and they're fighting over anything and everything. And us being a city kind of serve as that middleman that helped identify how we can collectively work together to bring about a better healthcare experience. And everyone in the medical district, everyone that I've worked with has been very generous in thinking through how it's not our time, it's not our space that's going to change Nevada. It's collectively using time and space and energy to make it better for everyone.
You've mentioned that Nevada has maybe not the best reputation when it comes to healthcare. What do you think really actually sets Southern Nevada apart from a healthcare perspective?
We don't have any integrated systems, and I'll talk about an area of focus for me. For the most part, I focus in on children's mental health. So if you have a child in Nevada and you're struggling with some mental health challenges, and COVID exacerbated that dramatically, I can guarantee anybody watching has struggled to figure out how to provide care. It's because we have a lot of great professionals here, but they may not take insurance or they may not take Medicaid. They take cash pay, and so that limits it significantly to the amount of people who can actually take advantage of that service. They also, I organize them. There's about 150 of them that I work with regularly. They make referrals via Facebook because they don't know of other professionals coming in. They don't have an opportunity to train. They have to go online or out of state to train. And so one area that I'm focused in on is working with the state of Nevada to create a board that helps to organize mental health professionals, that helps to provide training and education, licensing so they can get credentialed and get paid, and create an easier access point for people to know how to provide care for their children. It's not that different than what we have for healthcare. We have a lot of great physicians and physician assistants and nurse practitioners that work independently. So they'll see you, they'll treat you, they'll make a referral, but there's no connection afterwards. And I think that's an area that we really need to focus in on, and we can, and I think we'll get better at it.
So talk to me about what the city has planned as far as future investments into the medical district. There's already obviously been a lot of money that's been put in there, but what do you anticipate happening moving forward?
So once the dust settles, right now there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of cones. I'm really excited for those to kind of go away. I'll start with the small project. So on Rancho and Oki, which is just about 2 miles away from UMC, there's a vacant lot there now. At the end of this year, there'll be a dog park. It'll be called the Rancho Oki Dog Park. There'll be a 15-foot dog sculpture of a Scottie, because in that neighborhood it's the Scotch 80s. I'm very excited about that. On Wellness Way and Martin Luther King, there'll be a gateway arch coming into the medical district. That's a big public art investment. There'll be something similar on Rancho and Palomino. I've coordinated with the Neon Museum across from UMC. We'll have a neon sign that it's the free, tender and free love and free aspirin. That's from the olden days back in the day of Las Vegas, and that'll be refurbished and brought into the medical district. Some people in our community know about the Maryland Parkway project. It's the Regional Transportation Commission that is redesigning Maryland Parkway for a bus rapid transit. The big buses, hydrogen fueled. That will end and start in the medical district, and so we'll start to see significantly more mass transit projects within the medical district. There's a GoMed. I don't know if I love this project, to be honest with you, but it'll be interesting. It's the federal government invested in the city of Las Vegas for an automated vehicle that will be driverless, and it'll make stops in the medical district. This is one of the first in the country to be driverless and completely funded through the federal government. So that one will come into the medical district in about 6 months to 12 months, depending on the speed of the federal government. As far as the private investment, it's those apartment complexes, it's restaurants and bars, the Women's Cancer Center. We have 9 acres around the medical school that 4 of those acres are going to be a public health lab. We're currently working with a private developer and University Medical Center who will do a lab there, as well as a blood bank, and that'll be the first significant investment in biomedical research and laboratory services within the medical district and the city of Las Vegas and Southern Nevada, really. So every day I get asked about more and more development. I think there's probably going to be a hotel coming in there in the next couple of years. I think all the vacant parcels will be filled up, and that is really exciting to me, because that means those doctors and those nurses and those healthcare folks will have a place to live and eat and play. And this is why it was so important to me. As I mentioned, I was in the hospital with my son for 30 days, and 3 more subsequent hospitalizations for a week at a time. And it's interesting, the conversations you have at 3 o'clock in the morning with nurses and medical students. And then when the residents and the attending physicians come around in the afternoon, you have just the most interesting conversations about what it is to be a doctor in Las Vegas and what they want for themselves and for their family. And so part of being an elected official is really taking in what's important to them and acting on it. And what I heard is they want to be proud of the medical district. They want a place to go out after work and relax a little bit. And they want a place they can afford to live, because what's interesting about Ward 1, and especially around the medical district, is you have some of the richest people in the state live around there. Really, really big, fancy, nice houses, mansions. And then down the street, you have some of the poorest people that live in Nevada. And in the middle of Ward 1, you have people who retired from building up Las Vegas. They were police officers and firefighters and engineers and electrical workers and plumbers, and they built the Strip, they built Las Vegas, and paying homage to how much they invested of their lives into building up Las Vegas. And so that's what is one of the reasons of running for office, of being in office, is just creating this amazing space that people can be proud of.
Yeah, I think the bottom line from a lot of physicians is that they are proud of the healthcare that is available in Southern Nevada, and feel like the bad rap is not deserving anymore. There's, like you mentioned, really great practicing physicians, and so giving them, a place to call home and to see the city behind it, I'm sure makes them really happy to see that the city cares.
And the doctors here, the nurses here, they're educated, they're smart, they're trained, they're experienced. And our job as lawmakers is to create a better environment for them to flourish, for them to have great practices, for them to raise their families, and we have a lot of work to do. But you're right, the physicians here are great and amazing, and they've done a really great job taking care of people for a very long time.
What would you say to somebody who is considering moving to Las Vegas from a different part of the country? How would you convince them to move here?
I love Las Vegas. I absolutely love it. For anybody that wants to move here, I would say this is the place where you can do anything you want and be proud of it. And like I said, I love Las Vegas. Absolutely love it for those reasons.
One question that I like to end with, and that is, what would your younger self be most proud of you for or most surprised by?
My two kids. Everything is about my two kids, Andrew 8 and Kate 6. I just got sworn in for my second term on Wednesday, and so I chose to use that time to tell my kids how proud I am of them. That it's so interesting to watch children grow up, and you have a 4-year-old.
I do.
The development is absolutely fascinating.
It is.
And so every decision I make, everything I do, I constantly come back to thinking about how I can do better by them and make it a better world for them. And that's the thing I never would have expected how much a child would impact my life.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. This has been great and super fun.
Thank you.